How's everybody doing this morning? Raymond Mhor, Kilted Prepper, and you're watching Coffee with Ray. So, um, not much going on in the news today. I was perusing news, and there's always stuff going on, and I can report on a whole bunch of bad news stuff and everything, which I'll kind of report on today, anyways. But yesterday, the Feds raised the rates again to 2.5 to 5, zero point 0.5. Yeah, so now we're sitting at 5.25 and or 5.50. So now it's interesting. We're becoming normalized, and it's just another Fed rate hike, and blah 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 blah, and how's it going to affect me, and all that other stuff. And so a lot of people are becoming numb to this, and the Feds come out and say, "Oh, we're fighting inflation and things," but what this causes is more inflation, and like it or not, because what the Fed rate does is it hikes the credit rating and how banks and financial institutions borrow and trade and use money and all that other stuff. And so it's all about credit. And so how does this affect us? It affects us in higher prices because everything is bought on credit. I mean, you don't think that a lot of these food companies and manufacturing companies and everything buys everything on cash. They don't. They maintain their cash for liquidity purposes, and so that they hold on to that, but they leverage their credit. And so with credit rates going higher, it means things are more expensive to buy. And so all these companies, when they're going out and purchasing these large quantities of food and everything, they're not just doing that on cash, they're doing that on credit. And so these credit rates keep going up, and who eventually pays for these higher prices? It's a trickle down effect, and thus it's us. So in a sense, what they're doing is causing more inflation. And the legacy media is out there saying, "Oh, this is helping the inflation rate," and blah blah blah. No, it isn't. So it's doing harm. The reason that the Feds are doing this is so that they can have better attractive T-bills, because they need to pay off debt. And so how they do that is they're going to sell more T-bills at a higher interest rate. So the people who buy those bills, or those countries that buy those bills, get a better rate of return. And so it just keeps creeping up higher and higher and higher, and then thus causing also this higher inflation as well. So my warning is like, folks, listen, now is the time to start buying your tangible assets. So if you've been kind of keeping an eye on buying that dehydrator or that grain mill or that food saver or those garden tools or whatever, get them now, because in 2 weeks time they're probably going to go up higher in price, and just because everything is run on credit. And so that's how it will affect us. And when prices rise, that's called inflation. So how is all this stuff curbing inflation? Well, one way it is curbing inflation is because things are costing so much, people aren't buying as much anymore. So we're seeing this effect take place where oh, last week I needed a shovel, and you go into Lowe's today and the price of the shovel has gone up $10. And again, it's because of the credit and everything. It's keeping pace with the credit, and thus higher prices mean higher inflation. And so we're, all these people are thinking, "Oh, wow, we're seeing the inflation go down. It's only, our inflation is now only sitting at this percentage or that percentage." And in reality, for you and me, then, Lori says, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to get my dehydrator." Use my link, Lori. So, hey, Holly, how you doing? But inflation is going to continue to go up, and the cost of goods and services are going to go up, all because it's the world runs on credit. And that's something that the common man seems to forget about, and why we keep seeing rising prices. We're going to see rising prices at the grocery store. We're going to see rising prices at Lowe's and all these other home stores, and just rising prices everywhere, because the cost to buy something for these manufacturers are going up, because they're using their credit to buy these things and make these things and produce these things. And so it will affect us no matter what. And this is why I keep telling folks, man, tangible assets, all the things that you're going to need. Because if you think that they're going to start reducing the rates, maybe they might reduce the rate sometime towards the end of the year, one time. But when that one time happens, there's going to be a flood, and they're going to have to raise the rates up again. And so I don't see these rates going away anytime soon, or these rate hikes going away anytime soon, because this is just a perpetuation of them needing to, satisfy the bills and debt that they need to pay. And so it just becomes a vicious circle, and after a while it's going to severely affect. Now the interesting thing is I did watch, I've been watching several. I'm going to write an article about this actually too. There are 21 nations now that are dumping our debt, or dumping T-bills, including Japan, China, of course, but a lot of our allies, Israel, Australia, the UK, and everything. More and more countries are dumping the debt because they're really seeing problems with the U.S. financial system. The trust of the dollar is losing, the credibility. And what's happening when they dump these T-bills, or when they dump this debt, these dollars come back into the U.S., thus flooding our markets into more pieces of paper. And again, that's a secondary thing that causes inflation. Hey, Michael, how you doing, bud? And it causes even more. So it's going to cost even more pieces of paper for you to buy that shovel. And so we're seeing a cyclical situation take place of robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's starting to spin. It's starting to pick up momentum, and what we're going to start seeing here, things are, just higher prices in everything, and it's going to affect the common man primarily at the grocery store. And so start stocking up your food, start shopping those sales. I'm a big fan of using shopping cards, like at Kroger's or something. Find the grocery store near you that has a shopper card, and then also use coupons, use those digital coupons, download an app if that grocery store has an app. Because it's interesting, when I do go to Kroger's, I don't see a lot of people scanning the QR codes to get the lower price. I don't know why people aren't doing it. I've used the example of sliced cheese. I saw sliced cheese on sale for $2.25, but if you used a digital coupon, it was $1.49. And I don't know why people aren't taking advantage of these sales and everything. It's a little bit of a hassle because you got to use the app and all this other junk and everything, but a penny saved is a penny earned. And when these sales are happening, like at Kroger's, that coupon is good for 5 items. And every time something like that happens, I always buy at least five of those things, so that I can get that cheese or that butter or those eggs or something like that at that lower price. And so stock up on these things, because food is an investment. Food is going to get up higher and higher and higher. It's going to get to a point, or has gotten to a point for some folks, that they're starting to not be able to afford to go grocery shopping. They look at, do I buy my pharmaceuticals, or do I pay my electric bill, or do I buy food? Now, excuse me. Something else that's happening, and I thought this is rather interesting, is that I'm seeing at Walmart Walmart is starting to curtail how many cans of cat food you can buy, and so they're putting limits on cat food. Now, this is the sad thing, and this really shows how our economy is doing, how people are doing, and everything. But people resort to eating cat food, and that's a sad indicator of the situation that our country is in. But if they start limiting the price or the amount of cat food you can buy, then that's even, causing people even harder times. I mean, there's people on seriously fixed incomes that, yeah, they're eating cat food, and so it's starting to catch up big time. And I'm interested, are you seeing those signs at your Walmart, showing that you can't buy, or you're only limited to how many cans of cat food you can buy? And so, but that's a sign of the times, folks, and things are starting to get on the serious side. So really, start looking at those sales. Start investing in your food. Food is your highest, biggest investment, and you need to do that now and start, stocking that pantry even more, because having build your ark, it's going to help you get through this storm and everything. And just continue to stock it. I have what I call the $5 rule. And the $5 rule is, figure out a price that you and your loved one can agree upon, that every time you go into the grocery store, you are going to buy X amount of that, no matter what. So it doesn't matter if you're just going in for a gallon of milk, you're going to buy, $5 worth of whatever. Or if you're just going to go and do your weekly grocery shopping, make sure that you at least buy $5 of that, so that you're continuing to up your pantry and always keep it stocked and always, keep it going. Another thing, and something that we do, and this is a tip, I don't know if you have Alexa. I'm a big Alexa fan, and I don't care that the powers that be are listening to me or anything like that. That's, we all got dossiers that thick on each and every one of us. The credit card companies know what we're going to eat next week for lunch. So they got all these algorithms, analytics all figured out and everything. So there is no more privacy issues. But we use Alexa. And so every time I pull something from my pantry, I'm always saying, hey, Alexa, add this to the shopping list. And so that I'm keeping a running tab on my shopping list. And then also, what I'm doing is if there are things that we do need that maybe we don't have in our pantry. For example, I like a lot of Asian food, and so sesame seed oil is something that I like cooking with. It gives that good flavor and everything. So, hey, Alexa, add sesame seed oil to the shopping list and things. So I'm a big proponent of using Alexa shopping lists, so that every time I go to the grocery store, I whip out my Alexa, I look at it, say, oh, we need this, 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 and this. And I make sure that we top those things off, as well as top off the things that we may have pulled from the pantry. And so these are things that you can do now to continue to grow your pantry and continue to build up your ark, so that when things do start getting really up there in price, you have basically a grocery store in your pantry that you are pulling from. And what happens is, after a while, you start basically feeding or eating off of your pantry, and then all you're doing is replacing. And so if you do this, you'll start seeing your grocery bill start to go down. When I go shopping, I really work hard at shopping sales like crazy, but our average bill when I go grocery shopping is about $125, maybe $150 for every 10 days. Now, there's staples that I buy all the time, like milk, and milk is a big one. With our daughter, we seem to go through milk a lot, but there's just certain staples that you got to get. But all the other things that I'm trying to do is just constantly, for example, I pulled a box of kosher salt from the pantry. instantly I told Alexa, hey Alexa, add kosher salt to the shopping list. So now I know that next time I'm going to go there, I'm going to at least replace that item and rotate it in. And, living off your pantry will help you save money in the long run. And that's the battle that we want to continue to fight, so that we have a good supply of food and items like that, and yet it's not affecting our pocketbook as much. I'm also a big fan, I keep telling you guys this all the time, grow a garden. We are now in the season where you should start planting your fall garden, getting those things going. Carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, other radishes, other root vegetables, things like that. Getting these things in the garden now so that you have a fall harvest. And then once your fall harvest is going, probably around September, you want to then start putting in your winter garden. And here in 7B, we've been having some pretty mild winters, so we're able to still garden somewhat during all the way up into December and things. So more of your cold hardy plants, kale, again, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, these sort of things that are more cold tolerant. Your root vegetables, turnips, beets, radishes, other root vegetables are really good for the winter season as well. And the neat thing about some of these vegetables is that you can leave them in the ground even when there's snow. And so they won't freeze up. They basically stay fresh and everything. And so by leaving them in the ground kind of helps you extend your pantry in a sense, and you're not having to pull them and store them or anything like that. Now that's for 7B. Now if you live higher up in the colder regions and everything, yeah, you need to get those things out of the ground. But here in 7B, and I would say lower in the US, you can probably let those things linger a little bit longer in the ground, thus creating space or creating a food saving system in a sense by just keeping stuff in the ground. But interest rates are going to hit us, and start watching for prices to start go up next week, 2 weeks from now. Start checking your Kroger prices or whatever grocery store that you're shopping at, and really track these items, and so that you can really see how much prices have gone up. Now, it was interesting, the last time I went to Kroger's, I was just looking around. I wasn't shopping for anything in particular or anything, but I was amazed at the price of stuff jumping. And what we're seeing is shelves become empty. I'm going to use green beans for example. Green beans, you go to the green bean section and you see vacancies. And so they haven't been stocked up and everything. Green beans at that time, they showed a little price, $1.25 a can. Well, when they restock, all of a sudden those cans of food are now $1.35, $1.45. And so every time you see a vacancy on the shelf, when it restocks, watch for a higher price. And that seems to be the trend that we're looking at here in food items and everything. So again, start buying now. Food is your biggest investment. Wouldn't you rather buy low versus buying high? So again, the feds are going to continue to raise the prices or rates and everything. We're looking at a bunch of bank failures coming up here in the fall. Janet Yellen is continuing to say, oh, we need to merge banks, which means banks are failing. And so all these other things. BRICS, again, is sitting out there. August 22nd through the 26th or 24th is their big BRICS meeting and everything. So all these things, we're seeing a perfect storm come about. And when all these things combine, then I think we're going to see, prices even skyrocket even higher. So do what you need to do, and continue to push forward. Continue to always prep, always add things to your pantry. Start adding more garden tools, home tools, kitchen tools, things like that. So you have them now and you can lock in that price now. Again, Lori, you're looking at a dehydrator. Would you rather buy it at $202 or would you rather buy it at $275? So jump on these things now And use my link when I do share those things so that I can earn a couple pennies from Amazon and things like that. So if you're new, if you're loving my channel, if you're liking what I'm doing, I'm trying to really work hard at doing these every day at 9 a.m. and Eastern time, so that you guys kind of get used to me being on time and checking out my videos and stuff like that. So, but do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, and then ring that little bell. I'm sitting just under 1,300 subscribers, so help me break that 1,300 mark and get over that 1,300 mark. So do that for me, and make sure you share this video out with other people and everything, and share my channel if this has been helpful information. And then if there's anything that you want me to look into, research, or talk about, send me emails. If you ever see a really good news article and everything, for example, Ellie Mae sent me the article on the Indian rice situation a couple days ago, and so that's good actionable items, actionable intel that I want to make sure I share. So help us help the community, and let's help us disseminate the information. You can get that information to me by just posting in the descriptions below, or friend me on Facebook, because I live on Facebook, or send me an email, ray@raymondmhor.com. That's M-H-O-R, ray@raymondmhor.com. And, I'll get that information out to everybody. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time. Hold on. Taking the time to hang out with me every morning. I'm liking doing this, and, hopefully it's helping you and giving you guys some insight and everything as well. Leave you with a Bible verse, because Cynthia told me to leave you with a Bible verse. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. You got to be doing something, folks, so that God can, direct your path. If you're sitting on the sidelines, he can't direct you. So get out there, start doing stuff, start, prepping, start, doing even more, so that he can direct your path as well. So that's everything I can think of, folks. Raymond Mhor, Kilted Prepper. Coffee with Ray. We'll see you. Goodbye. God bless. And kilt on.